I'm Rustin Nice, and I'm the head cross-country and track coach at Goshen College. This is my 6th year here. My idea started by thinking about competition and how competition, in the athletic sense, seemed to be at discord with the Mennonite faith. Thinking about how at Goshen College, there's not a sense of pride or celebration in winning or allowing ourselves to feel upset about losing. Through conversations with different people, my thought process changed. Framing competition only in the athletic sense seemed too small. In the larger context of what competition is, grew the thought that competition is part of our lives, and for all people it's more than just athletics. How and where do we find ourselves competing? And are we putting our energy in the most valuable spaces? Through listening to stories, especially from a diverse population of people, it caused me to think more about what competition really is and what it means. Competition is vital to obtain resources or to seek new opportunities. Sometimes it's the only way to earn an opportunity. Through that single opportunity, there is the sense that some people must win or they will lose their opportunity. Many of us have the privilege to make mistakes and be given another opportunity. For some people, that's not the case. Therefore, there must be a strong sense of competition to earn your way. It has become evident to me that the Mennonite Church must compete. I've experienced the Mennonite Church as very welcoming, full of kind people who have supported me when I've been successful and when I have failed. I've been given countless opportunities. While I'm thankful and blessed, I can't help but wonder how I earned this privilege, because for many people, countless opportunities are not an option. I believe the Mennonite Church must compete and win when it comes to diversifying the Mennonite Church. Jesus was a model for this. In many instances, Jesus used his privilege to heal the sick or wounded, uplift marginalized people, or show kindness and humility to everyone, and encourage his followers to do the same thing. The Mennonite Church is welcoming. I have experienced open doors, kind people, and an outpouring of goodwill. However, we must do more. We must walk with people through our doors. Not only invite them, but walk with them. Our church must compete to diversify our congregations. For some people who are competing for one opportunity, we must learn how to welcome them, uplift them, and support them. Most importantly, we must learn from them. I asked 4 people 3 exact same questions. As you listen to their responses, notice what each person focuses on. Think about how you would answer these questions. What thoughts come up initially for you? What thoughts do you have after taking some time to think about the questions more? How would your answers change depending on your situation? The questions are: where or how have you found value in competition, especially winning and losing? What are some ways that competition can help diversify the Mennonite Church and Mennonite institutions of higher learning? And/or, how do you see competition as an important part of encouraging diversity? And the third question: how has Jesus' model for strength, power, courage, and dignity inspired you in athletics or other types of competition?
So for me, I feel that's a very great question. I feel like my life, or maybe everybody else's life, should be a competition. Actually, not a competition against ourselves, but also a competition against how we feel and how we interact with other people. For me, I've been able to win both by losing and I've lost by winning. In the sense that I've always been fighting against some voices that have been telling me that I'm not enough, thinking about my identity and where I come from. It's just so hard for me to think about, or maybe imagining having been able to do all these things. And if I look back at it, many of the days that I doubted myself, I told myself I'm not enough. But also through grace and faith in God, I've been able to overcome that, and I've been able to achieve a lot. I've been able to move from my country to the States, pursue my major, and I think not yet there, but I'm successful on my way there, and that's a very good thing. I've always worked so hard, and through that, I've been able to inspire the people back at home. I've been able to help. I've been able to connect and achieve a lot. I've won a lot of awards, and in that way through, I've also lost. I mean, I remember some time back last year, I lost some part of my identity in the sense that, I mean, I got injured and in some ways I wasn't able to run as much as I expected to. And so in that way, I mean, I've I've lost too. I lost my family. I mean, I lost my family back at home and friends to be able to find my place in the society. And I think with time, everything will come, kind of add up and come together.
So I would say I've been able to find a lot of value in losing. That's kind of a funny statement, I guess, but in high school I was part of a basketball team that didn't win for like over a year. And when that happens, you have to find value in things other than being successful as a team, or else you're just gonna be sad the whole season. So I was able to find a lot of joy in being around my teammates and spending time together and learning how to enjoy a sport where you're just really not successful. So I think that was a really valuable lesson for me. But I also am a very competitive person, so I find value in winning, in that it shows how all your hard work has paid off to reach this common goal as a team.
Yeah, so I found value specifically with losing by recognizing that I have two choices. I can either choose to dwell on how poorly I did or like how I feel with my negative feelings, or I can take those losses as an opportunity for character development. And taking route two is a lot better for me just because dwelling on the past is not going to get you anywhere. And it's better to try to find the positives even when there's so many negative things that may have happened. And there's so much sacrifice and mental toughness that's needed to get through the negative stuff in order to get to the end point.
Right. Competition. Well, I think it's a part of everyone's life. It's been a part of my life, not primarily as an athlete, although I would say even just in the fun of games and sports, it totally changes things when somebody's keeping score and there's a competition going on. You know, the adrenaline just goes up, the focus, the attention. It adds an element of fun in the best circumstance that I have found I can do things in a competition setting that I can't do if I'm all alone and no one's watching. So I find that really, really interesting. I think competition is a great motivator, and in the right social context can create a heck of a lot of fun and just up the fun in life and whatever you're doing. Personally, I have, when I heard Rustin's question, I think competition has been most acute and compelling and memorable for me in my life as a researcher writing grant proposals, competing for funding, which is very different from athletic competition. But again, it just really brings you to the top of your game. And I would say also, you don't always get the grant proposal. So in my realm of science, in which I spent decades writing grant proposals, I expected about 1 out of 4 would win. About 1 out of 4 would be funded. So that means that 3 out of 4, you're getting that rejection letter. And that just becomes a part of your process. And again, when things are working well and the process is a good one, that is just part of the learning and makes you write the better proposal the next time. And especially if you have feedback and you know why you didn't get the winning score and you're told how you need to improve. So that structure in competition where you have people helping you get better, and when you're not the winner, to say, okay, here's where you can do better the next time. Here's where you stumbled. Here's where you didn't, where you lost ground. That is so helpful in learning to receive that feedback, even if the feedback is massively disappointing in the moment, but learning the process of taking that in, taking that on, and advancing forward in productive ways. So yeah, competition is fun, it's very motivating, and it's a great teacher
I think today I'm very proud and humbled to be here in the sense that, I mean, a lot of things has happened. A lot of people have competed to make sure that I am who I am today. It's just not me, but it's been a team effort. Before I got to the States, and I'm pretty sure my coach, Rustin, worked so hard to make sure that I was here. Everything wasn't adding up for some reason, but he competed against all the odds. He always worked with me, and we made sure that we were winning in any way that we could. Things were tough. Things were not as straightforward as maybe might be, but we always competed. Like moving from Kenya to the States, you have to go through a lot of transition and a lot of process. Like you have to go to the U.S. embassy, to the visa and everything else, and you compete. Everybody's wanting to get this opportunity, but yeah, I competed. I give credits to my parents for competing, like against all the ways that I didn't want to do whatever they wanted me to do and everything else. But also coming to the States, it's been a big role. It's been a big role. I was able to go to church. I mean, I was provided opportunities to go to church, and in that church, I met wonderful people. I met people that were willing to help me. I met people who were willing to compete and go out of their ways to provide me with the opportunity to ask for what I wanted, and I think that was a good thing. People have always worked so hard to make sure that I get what I have, to make sure that I learn what I need to learn, and that was a great thing. So I think my church played a big role. I went to 8th Street. I met wonderful people that when I got there, everybody wanted to see me, everybody wanted to be around me, not necessarily because they wanted to just connect with me, but they wanted to put me in a situation whereby they could help me. And I feel the church helped me a lot. I remember most of the days I was struggling, but the church played a very big role. The church helped me walk through my transition, and that was awesome. Everybody has always been working so hard, and I think it's all based on the Mennonite church culture and mission and state.
So I can only speak from my experience here at Goshen and being part of a team. I think for me, if I wasn't on the basketball team, I would hang out with only Mennonites, really, because those are the main people I hang out with outside of sports. But being part of the basketball team, I'm the only Mennonite on the team, and there are girls from all over, like big schools, little schools, urban areas, rural areas, and so it's been really fun to interact with them at basketball, and then be with my Mennonite friends in other settings. And beyond just interacting with them, you have to learn how to work together and like make compromises with each other because we come from different backgrounds. Just learn how to work together to be successful as a team, and that has definitely diversified my life. And I think having athletes at Goshen, it brings people, like obviously people who aren't Mennonite here, and that diversifies classes and just people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis.
I see competition as an important part of encouraging diversity by truly listening to people that come from diverse backgrounds when they ask for empathy and understanding. And to truly be inclusive, we need to listen to those people who come from the diverse backgrounds, and we need to be able to develop a certain level of respect and understanding for them too.
That is a great question. So again, I thought about this from a few angles. And the first angle that came to me is that there's just more and more evidence, more and more research that diverse teams outperform less diverse teams. And I would say in my lifetime, in my career, and also in my personal life, almost everything that I do that matters is not a solo event. It is happening as part of a team. And so if we really take that on board and recognize that we produce better work when we are in the context of a more diverse team, then competition will drive our diversity, because we're always going to be looking to bring those diverse perspectives, experiences, identities, cultures into our teams, because that's going to make us succeed and compete better. So that was one thought that that I had, again, that I think works in the athletic context, but it also works in any life context in which we are we're looking to build teams, and certainly in the context of Goshen College and higher education, we know that diversity in our student body, in our athletic teams, in our radio station, in the president's cabinet, all of those things help us be better. And by paying attention to diversity in our recruitment and admissions and hiring processes, opens our eyes to more talent, and helps us be better.
One thing that I'm for sure is my life is a walk of faith. I've been able to walk through doors that I never thought I would. I've done a lot of things that I never imagined I could, and I've been to a place. I came to Goshen College just out of faith in God that this was the right place for me, because the first thing that I knew was the toughest thing actually first that I did was I made it possible for me to come to the States, to a place that I've never been before. And the most painful thing that I've learned over time is saying goodbye to your family when you don't know when to see them again. And that was coming to Goshen College. I came to a school that I'd never visited before. I came to meet people that I never knew before, and it was a walk of faith. I've been able to engage in different situations that were tough, but through faith, I was able to get over them. I've competed with people from all diversities, and it's all through faith in God and strength, and very humble for that.
Good. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Nothing really. I mean, just to inspire people to always give their best, because the world is not asking anything more of us, but just to do what we are capable of doing. And if we do that, then the world will become our library. We'll learn a lot, and we'll always do great.
When I thought about this question, the first thing that came to mind is that I think when I compare myself to like other people I observe, I think I have a lot more compassion, and I place a lot more value on my opponents. So I don't necessarily enjoy being mean to the opponent or trying to tear them down. And I think that comes from my Christian background of respecting others and like giving everyone dignity because they're human. So that's one way I see Jesus as a model helping me. Another way is in competing. When you're part of a team, especially at college, you aren't just competing with your opponents, but you're also competing with your teammates for spots and for playing time. And so I think it's easy for people to get in the mindset of hoping that their teammates don't succeed and tearing down teammates so that they themselves can get playing time. And I think for me, a big learning spot, or a big step that I've taken here, is learning how to truly want my teammates to be successful, even though I'm competing with them for playing time. And I think that has helped me. It takes courage to do that. And I think Jesus is a good model for that as well. And then I think being part of a team in general, there's a lot of sacrifice. And when I think about Jesus, I think of sacrifice. And so when you're part of a team, you have to sacrifice time when you could be doing other things, and you have to sacrifice not always getting your way because you're working with, for me, I'm working with 10 other girls who are very opinionated and want to also have their way. So we all sacrifice some parts of our life to help each other and to contribute to being a successful team.
So it has inspired me to set personal goals for myself, such as striving for excellence, uplifting others, and leading with a purpose.
Well, I think about teamwork again, and that one of the things that Jesus modeled so well in his life was that he did not go it alone. He did not go it alone spiritually. He brought together a team of people who were really extraordinarily diverse for his time and place, and welcomed all the perspectives and the spiritual and life resources that brought into his movement, his conversation, his teaching, his community that he was building. There are so many times in Scripture where the metaphor of a race or persevering with endurance is used. And this question had me thinking in particular to a scripture from the book of Hebrews that talks about running the race or persevering to run the race. And it specifically says, shove off those things that entangle you, that hold you back, that encumber you. And I think that the biases or the small-mindedness that we, all of us have from time to time, whether they're biases about other people or biases about ourselves. Maybe we think, I can't do that because I'm not whatever. It's a kind of sin. It's a kind of entanglement that can hold us back. So I would say to run the race with perseverance, we just need to encumber ourselves from the stereotypes and biases and small-mindedness that diminish us and that diminish our capacity to see the talent and the teamwork that is available to us around us if we invite people to the table.
What did you notice in their responses? There was a sense of competing for an identity, for finding a place. There's a strong sense of emotion from each person, but specifically from Suzette and Kiprop. These are voices that need to be heard, uplifted, and supported. They are at Goshen College because they compete athletically, but to them, it's much more than that. Over the 6 years I've been the head cross-country and track coach at Goshen College, I've gotten to have conversations with people from all over the world and all sorts of backgrounds. These conversations are always deeply meaningful and informative. I appreciate that athletics can be a way for some people to win, but it's more than finishing first. We must compete to learn, uplift, encourage, and support. To conclude, I invite you to think of your own answers to the 3 questions that were asked previously and discuss them with others.